There is no reason for you not to live a brilliant, wonderful life and for us to create a great world. That's why I can rebuild my life now. I had to finally accept that I was given that, and it's taken a long time. When I was many years ago, I had an astrologer friend, good friend of mine, did my chart, and he said, "You're a late bloomer." And I got I got so upset with that. I go, "Wait a minute, I don't want to be that." Well, now I understand why. At 75 years old, I am rebuilding my life because I was given the work, the philosophy that could change your life to cause you to live this magnificent life and have everything that you want. And then you will give that to others, and that's how we change our world. We never know who we're going to become, and I could have never told you that this was going to become my life because I wasn't going to do any of this. I wasn't going to do channeling or speaking out in certain ways. I was hidden for the longest time. And then to discover that I'm given the first consciousness raising system ever documented in human history. And I fought it for the longest time because it didn't make sense. How could that have happened? But then you understand that everything is consciousness. That's the only way we experience ourselves and the world. The way that we experience our lives and our world is through our consciousness, and we form it. We form it in different ways, and we learn that at different times. And certain people come into the world to bring us new ways of understanding that, and I'm one of them. And I would never have guessed that. When I was younger, I remember this though. When John F. Kennedy, our president here in the United States, when he was assassinated, I something shifted in me. I was 13 years old. But I said, this should not be happening. Why? I was frightened. Why is that happening? Then it turns out I'm the one who was supposed to bring it forth. I was the one who was supposed to make a change so we wouldn't have that again. And it all happens through consciousness. Because if more people could understand who they are and live their lives in a wonderful way and move through all kinds of doubt and fear and lack of confidence and all of those things, which again is self-empowerment, it's self-mastery, it's all of that. And then move through their generational trauma because we carry that as well when we come into the world. And so if they had a way of doing that, it would change their lives and change the world. And that's what I have. Every day for 37 years, I would sit down and receive information, not understanding where it was going to lead, what it was going to turn out to be. And then it turned out to be a work, a philosophy, in which I've now put into a program that anyone can do that changes your life and causes you to understand who you are and create something wonderful in the world. And it's based in science. That I could never have known either. But then I discovered something else, that I was a savant, that I had this ability to receive information in a different way than any other human. And so that's why this has never been done before, because there is an organization in the universe and there's energy. Everything is energy in our universe, and the way we think about things and are affected is through energy and how we process it. And so I was given this way to process this information and the changes, the galactic changes and all of that, that could cause anyone to understand who they are and live this great life. It took years for me to believe this and to also test it enough and to have it verified through all, because we have artificial intelligence now. So now I could see this is why it worked. And then I couldn't explain to you why I was experiencing mind-body healing from someone who went through every challenge, every difficulty, every illness, that you can possibly imagine. And now to have them gone, and I'm moving in a completely different direction, it was because of the alignment. When you come into alignment with you, who you're meant to become, then things start to heal. Now, everyone's not going to do that. We do know that. I remember listening to Carl Jung, and he says, well, the problem that most people have is they don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to go inside. They don't want to do that shadow work that we all must do. If we're going to move through any kind of blockage, we have to become willing to do that. And that's what I've done. But I had to do it so that I could give it to you, so that I could give it to the world. There was a time that felt way too big for me to say, but now it's true. Another thing with Carl Jung, I was listening to an interview with him a long time ago, and the interviewer was asking him, "Do you believe?" And he thought about it for a while, and then he said, "I used to believe, now I know." And I can say that too. Now I know. And that's why I'm doing this today. That's why I'm creating this page, so I can send it to everyone, because now I'm releasing it. Now I'm telling everyone this is what we have. You might look at the world and think everything's falling apart or there are all these difficulties. I happen to know that it's something different. And it's what caused this work to come through. Probably the same is happening for you. When we go through stress in any sort of way in our lives or in the world, it causes us to find something different. And then certain people pushed through stress, as I was during this time, came up with the most brilliant thing that could change our world and change your life. Now, it's not going to necessarily change the world, because that's going to take a while before people would change. Wilhelm would give me messages all the time. He says, "Well, you didn't believe Jesus, Buddha, or Tesla either." Talking about the process that we move through in civilization before we accept an idea that could cause us to live better lives and create something different. However, you could have it all now, because that's what I created. And I'm so glad I'm able to put it together. I put it together on this page because I'm going to use it to send to everyone else, that I can now do releases about it. I'll go back to George Nuri again, and probably I want to go back on Beyond Belief, his show, because that was a really great one for me, because it gave me a much greater audience where I could now finally tell them why this happened. The most oddest thing that would go on, I want you to understand, I've never studied astrology or astronomy or any of that, but you will see in this information that it was all aligned, everything that I received. And then when I would meet with someone and have information about their energetic alignment, that was something that was really surprising as well. There's a post on my blog today where you'll see talking about that. And many people now are using things like ChatGPT to go and check theirs to find out that energetic alignment to your birth chart, basically, because everything is energy. We just figure these things out over time. I spent 37 years figuring it out. And so now there's no reason for any person to fail. There's no reason for us to have what we're having in our world right now. But we have to understand, not everyone is going to become you. Not everyone is going to do what you would be willing to do. And I couldn't have known that I would have done this. But now that is why I'm rebuilding my life. Because I avoided this. I couldn't stay with it because it didn't make sense to me. But now I'm doing all of that. And if you go to my blog and you search the dates from 2025, from now forward, from the 23rd to the end of the month, you'll see that all the information was aligned. It takes you through a journey every single day to understand that. And that's how I downloaded information. Now, that was difficult for me to accept, and many other people, because it's never been done before. But we're each meant to do something that's never been done. So you have to look at yourself and decide if you're going to move through any blockages that you have, any kind of fear, any kind of doubt, and decide to become who you could be. And now I have the way. I was given that way to give to you to have it happen. And it's something that I could have never imagined, and you have something you probably can't imagine now either. But when we move over those barriers, everything changes. And that's why I'm rebuilding my life now. All right, I'll see you soon. Please share this with others. I want as many people as possible to know about this work and what they can achieve and what we can achieve in our world as well. All right, I'll see you soon.